There's a theory, actually, my theory that's going around now, since I'm going to start it, that Larry Fink is actually orchestrating the fall of the US dollar with Bitcoin. And why would Larry Fink want the fall of the US dollar with Bitcoin? Blackrock, outside of Satoshi's own wallet, has more Bitcoin than anyone else. Now, to be fair, the Bitcoin is not BlackRock's, but they actually have more than Sailor. Although the MicroStrategy Bitcoin is actually just belongs to MicroStrategy, the BlackRock Bitcoin belongs to the BlackRock investors, and they sell and buy as the investors sell and buy. But they have the actual Bitcoin, whereas the investors have the paper that represents the Bitcoin. So it's not exactly the same thing, obviously. So he obviously has an interest if the reserve currency changed from USD to BTC. Now, what's the theory? Well, he actually gave a warning recently that the US dollar could actually be replaced by Bitcoin as the national or the strategic reserve for the world because US debt is rising and people are losing confidence in the United States because of its debt. That's actually not true. But you know what is true is Trump's policies are making more people lose faith in the US as a stable partner, as a stable kind of like guardian for the world. Remember, Trump's foreign policy is the US is no longer interested in being the world police. Besides supporting Israel, they're not really interested in doing anything else. Trump's trade policy, obviously, declaring trade wars on everyone, is going to make people trust the United States less. In fact, Korea, Japan, and China, three countries that basically hate each other, have actually aligned to actually counter Trump's tariff policy. So you can see how this would actually hurt the US dollar. Other countries are going to want to find ways to trade and leave the US out and not use the US dollar, the more of these kind of policies that you pursue. If you start random trade wars with other countries, the US dollar is going to take a hit. One of the reasons the US dollar is trusted everywhere also is because the US does intervene everywhere and provides military assistance. Us being like the defender of freedom and democracy or whatever, does actually have benefits in making people rely on the dollar even more. So without all that military intervention and with the trade wars, you put the dollar at risk. Do I think the dollar is actually going downward? No, I don't think the dollar is going to be replaced by Bitcoin anytime soon. But, it is a possibility, a very remote possibility, but it's still a possibility, and it is a possibility that that would actually benefit Larry Fink and BlackRock because they own a lot of that Bitcoin. Also, the U.S. is starting their own strategic Bitcoin reserve right on time as the current administration is basically doing things that would undermine U.S. dollar dominance, regardless of what they say on the surface. Yes, starting the trade war, making other countries basically search for other currencies besides the U.S. dollar to actually trade in undermines the dollar. Basically, like drawing back from the world's police, making other countries depend less on us and build their own military also basically has negative effects on the US dollar as well. So we're going to have decreasing US dollar dominance at the same time starting a strategic Bitcoin reserve. And obviously the US starting a strategic Bitcoin reserve has kind of spurred on other countries starting strategic Bitcoin reserves as well. So given all that put together, could Larry Fink possibly just be pulling the strings behind these policies? Could BlackRock be the one that's really steering U.S. policy towards Bitcoin? And could the current administration just be kind of puppets for Larry Fink and BlackRock? Now, I actually don't think this is the case, but conspiracy theorists, they eat this stuff up. There's people that believe that the earth is still flat for some reason. So this is definitely more believable than that. And I do think some people are going to take a look at it seriously because BlackRock is supposedly the cabal. And the cabal wants to enrich themselves. So replacing the dollar with Bitcoin would be a way to enrich themselves. So what do you think about that theory? Is BlackRock the one really pulling the strings behind the U.S. government right now? Are they the one dictating this trade war and this foreign policy to undermine the dollar with Bitcoin because they have a lot of Bitcoin? What do you think? Let me know in the comments, like and subscribe, and hit that bell notifications button, and I will see you guys later.